Okay, so we have a mix of people here online today, from those who are just starting their journey with Reiki to maybe those who are already Reiki masters. So no matter where you are on your path, Reiki is a lifelong practice of deepening awareness, healing and connection. So in today's session, I'll briefly discuss some of the differences between Western and Japanese Reiki before guiding you through a meditation to help us connect more deeply with Reiki energy. I will reiterate, though, that neither form is better than the other. They are simply different expressions of the same foundational practice. So before we begin, let's just take a moment to ground ourselves. So I invite you to close your eyes or lower your gaze. Take a slow, deep breath in, pause, and slowly exhale. And allow your breathing to return to its normal rhythm. Bring your awareness into the present moment, allowing yourself to be fully here. Okay, so taking your attention to the temperature of the air as it enters and exits your nostrils as you breathe in and breathe out. Feel the ground beneath your feet. May this session bring clarity, inspiration, and deeper connection to Reiki. Okay, let's now open our eyes and continue. Okay, so yes, there are differences, though both forms of Western and Japanese Reiki share the same origins and guiding principles. So let me show you a photo of our Mikao Usui, the founder of Japanese Reiki. He developed the original system in Japan in the early 20th century. And this traditional practice, often called Usui Reiki or Japanese Reiki, focuses on energy flow, meditative practices, and spiritual development. And even Usui's practice was not rigid. According to research, Usui taught his students depending on their spiritual development, so there was flexibility. The next picture I have here, Hayashi Chujiro. Apologies if I say that a little bit out. So he was reportedly one of the 20 teachers initiated by Usui Sensei. So Sensei meaning teacher. So Hayashi is best known for having taught Hawaii Takata. So let me just show a picture of her. There she is, Hawaii Takata. Now, she became a Japanese-American Reiki master who then brought Usui's teachings via Hayashi to America. So this introduction to Reiki into America was primarily through Takata, and adaptations were made to make it more accessible to us Western audiences. So this evolved form is what we often refer to as Western Reiki. So again, neither form is better than the other. They are simply different expressions of the same foundational practice. And actually, many practitioners, Reiki practitioners, blend elements of both, honouring their lineage while adapting their practice to their personal and professional needs. So whether you practice Japanese Reiki or Western Reiki, the goal remains the same. Okay, let's move on. Right, so you're probably thinking, okay, have I been taught Western or have I been taught Japanese Reiki? So if your lineage starts with the three following, then you're part of the Western lineage. Okay, so the three photos I just showed you, Mikao Usui, Hayashi, and Takata. A Japanese lineage may look something like this. Okay, so the bottom of the list there is Franz Steiner, who is a very, very well-known Reiki master and author, and he goes around Europe delivering training and so forth. So yours might look like this. So what is lineage exactly? So the lineage really just gives proof as to where this energy is coming from. The lineage basically means that you have been attuned by someone who has been attuned by somebody else and eventually gets tracked all the way back to Mikao Usui. So this means that every student can trace back their individual connection all the way energetically to Mikao Usui, and this is where it all started, what we call today the system of Reiki. Okay. All right, so moving on. So as the system of Reiki became more modernized, more westernized in the 1980s, the chakra system was introduced. So you can see the chakra symbols on the left-hand side there. So you can see that those chakra symbols, the chakra system being an energetic system from India that has become very, very popular in the Western world. And then if I show the Japanese side, okay, so the focus here was on the hara. So the word hara literally means stomach, belly in Japanese. And it said that energy is stored in this point of the body from where it expands throughout the whole body. You see the word tanden there. So tanden meaning energy center, and the main one is the hara. Okay, so the lower tandem, also known as the earth energy, hara, approximately 3 inches below your belly button. So in this center, original energy is stored. So what do we mean by original? So original meaning the energy you're born with, the energy that is the essence of your life and gives you your life's purpose. The original energy is not only the energy you receive from your parents when you were conceived, but most importantly, it's the energetic connection between you and the universal life force. So when the singular term hara is mentioned, it's the lower hara, the lower tanden that's being discussed. And this is the symbolic energetic center for earth ki, Ki. So the Japanese call it ki, the Chinese call it chi. All right, but yeah, ki is the Japanese word that essentially means energy or life force. All right. So let's move on to the next tanden. So this is the middle tanden, also known as the heart energy. So the energy in this center is connected with emotions. It's human energy connected with human experience. So through this center, you learn your life's process from childhood through to adulthood and back to being a child. The other tanden, let me just bring that one up. There we go, is the upper tanden, also known as heavenly energy. This is the energy connected with your spirit. So when you are connected with this center, you may see colors or you might have psychic ability. And it is very important that you do not become unbalanced, but to keep yourself centered. All right, so we got there at the bottom. Usui's Japanese teachings focus on building the energy in the hara. All right, so let's look at focus and intention. All right. So some may say Japanese Reiki is seen to have a stronger focus with the belief that the system of Reiki is a way of being, deeply rooted in spiritual and personal development. And the 5 Reiki precepts, you know, the just for today, do not anger, do not worry, etc. Those are central and recited daily as a form of mindfulness practice. So if we go to the Western part, if I just bring that on the screen, the focus is more on healing others with less emphasis on the sort of self-cultivation or the spiritual discipline. So the precepts are acknowledged, but not always integrated into daily life. Okay, so just moving on to some more here. We've got intuitive energy. So for Japanese Reiki, practitioners are encouraged to feel the energy intuitively rather than relying on the fixed hand positions. So the Western way chose this systematic way to make it easier to teach and apply consistency. Right. We've got self-practices here. So with the Japanese Reiki, self-practice is considered just as important as healing others. So although the practitioner acts as a conduit channel for energy, they also focus on their own spiritual growth. And in the West, In the West, the practitioner is often seen as the giver of healing energy to the client, sort of directing the energy for results. So the West has a stronger emphasis on treatment sessions rather than internal self-development. And of course, there are cases where practitioners blend the two. Moving on here to talk about Reiju. So Reiju is the original Japanese word, where attunement is the English translation. Reiju can be translated as spiritual blessing or spiritual offering, and it's a ritual performed by a Reiki teacher to a student with the main purpose of energetically supporting the student's progress. So for this reason, the student sits on a chair while the teacher completes the physical and energetic ritual around him or her. And I guess for me, attunements don't hook you up to a new external energy source. What they do is to kind of like flag up to you or give you access to the energy, which the Japanese called ki, which has always been there for you, but which has been sort of out of your awareness and therefore not easily accessible to you. So if I bring some more information up on the screen here, with Western Reiki culture, attunements are generally offered at every level of the Reiki training. So traditionally, 4 attunements are shared in level 1 of Reiki training, 3 attunements are given at level 2, and 1 attunement is given in level 3 training. In the traditional circles in Japan, Reiju has been known to be given whenever a student or teacher meets, and this may be as regularly as once a week. The student receives whatever he or she needs at that time, at the level that they are able to absorb it. So overall, the Japanese system of Reiki is seen to offer Reiju on a more frequent basis than just at the level of your training. So moving on, so we've got the precepts here. So they're just in English there. They do not anger, do not worry, be humble, be honest in your work, be compassionate to yourself and others. So a precept is a code of practice, and Usui taught them to support his students on their spiritual path of self-healing. They are the baseline to the complete system, and these precepts are the teachings of Usui, the roots to what has become the system of Reiki. Okay, so if we just move on, so we've got the 2 differences here. So in the Western world, the precepts can sometimes, not always, be seen sort of is treated like a paragraph of information from a book. Once read, is put down to rest, or it's maybe on a plaque hung up on the wall. It can often be not so much of a deep dive about what this really means and how important it is to the practitioner. The Japanese language of these Reiki precepts have a different resonance of sound and are known to raise a very powerful vibration within the hara. So even though it's in English on the screen, I'll chant it in Japanese for you. So the chanting means that you're really bringing it up from your belly. So you're taking a nice deep breath in, and it's Yo daki wa ikaru na shinpai suna kansha jite yoho hakeme hito ni shinsetsu ni. All right, so we'll be doing more of that later together. Hopefully you'll be joining me. So here on the slide, I've got, Japanese Reiki is a spiritual practice that is more of a lifestyle, the focus being primarily on self. The focus being primarily on self. So if you can't heal yourself, how can you heal others? I'm trying to say. So however, it is more than that. It's a path to truly understanding that we are all interconnected and that the spiritual energy is within us and all around us. But spiritual practice is just that, practice, repetition. So you don't have to think about it anymore. It's an automatic way of life source. So the Western Reiki versus Japanese Reiki is has different thoughts behind it. If I give you an example, so imagine a lamp with lots of lampshades over it. So you can't actually see the light itself. It's like shining through the light shade, but you can't really see it. So under the cover of these lampshades, we cannot see the light within. Relating that to ourselves, sometimes we feel so in the dark that we think our light has gone out. But the more we remove the lampshades of our own fears, judgments, angers, and so on, the more we start to see our inner light. So when we do it, it feels like we become brighter, we become lighter in ourselves. But the lamp itself has never changed. It is and always was light, or was bright. And this is the same with our essence. No matter what happened or is happening in our lives, that inner light is always bright. Okay, so it's a bit like the sun behind the clouds as well. The sun is always there, but the cloud sort of hides it. So in the West, it's more often seen that the system of Reiki is mainly energy hands-on healing for others, and then in some cases you may see a mix from both traditions. Okay. So when we're looking at spiritual growth, there's 5 key elements. So one of the 5 key elements for your spiritual growth is the Reiki precepts, like we've just covered. So we'll do some chanting of this together in a moment. I'll repeat again, a precept is a code of practice. Usui taught them to support his students on their spiritual path of self-healing, and they are the baseline to the complete system. So there's the Reiki precept. So what I've done there, to the left, I've got the English, the middle, I've got the Japanese, but then to the right-hand side, I've also got it as phonically spelt. So hopefully this will let you or allow you to chant it a lot easier if you're not used to doing it the Japanese way anyway. So again, it's breathing in right down to your belly, and it's the whole initial lot. So that first bit, the just for today, is your dakiwa. All right, so it's breathing in. Yo dakiwa ikaruna shinpasuna kansha jite yo hakeme hoti ni shinsetsu ni. All right, so we'll be doing a bit of that together. So that first part, the do not anger, the ikaruna. So how do we get clear? You know, we release all anger, irritation, bitterness, and upset through this first precept. The next one is shinpai suna. Okay, so we release all worry, fear, anxiety about ourselves, our practice, or any other daily thing through the second precept. And now we are clearly here and present, which is the way to approach the practice. Then we have kansha jite. In that place of being present with no anger or fear, we experience a sense of gratitude for simply being here now, released and free. And this activates the connection and the Reiki flows. Then we've got the Yoho Hakeme. And this is saying be diligent in our practice, or practice diligently, being honest and true to our way and our being. And then the Hito ni Shinsetsu ni. Finally, the 5th concept fills our spaciousness with compassion as the Reiki flows. And compassion is a verb, an action word for the present. And it is the active expression of our being present in the non-duality of our true self. So moving on from that one, we'll be doing some chanting soon, don't worry, just going to finish the presentation. So we've got the Reiki meditations and techniques. So this is the second element of spiritual growth. These practices are introduced at level 1 Reiki and are continued up to master level. They require disciplined practice on a daily basis. It involves the right body, the right mind, the right breath. There's a wonderful book, actually, if I just bring this up. So Franz Steiner, he talks about mind, body, speech in his new book, The Way of Reiki, The Inner Teachings of Mikao Usui. I wholeheartedly recommend you read this excellent book to gain a deeper understanding of Reiki and its beauty. So the third one is hands-on healing. So at level 1, we focus on self-healing techniques. So these are massively important. Sometimes people want to rush through this part and get on to helping others. But until we really learn how the energy feels for ourselves, and until we are totally at ease with self-healing, we are doing a disservice to others if we jump ahead. It is important to take the time to really lean into the energy, to allow it to work with you and for you before you work to heal others. Okay. Level 2 introduces the healing for others, but self-healing is still massively important, right up to master level and beyond. Okay, so number 4 here, we've got Reiki symbols and mantras. These are introduced at level 2 Reiki and are again often overlooked as just symbols, but it's the mantras that open up the symbols. The act of chanting from the hara, that lower belly area where the Reiki energy is stored, and then we've got the Reiju. So Reiju and attunements are part of the 5th main elements. Reiju is the original Japanese word, whereas attunement is the English translation. And Reiju can be translated as spiritual blessings and spiritual offerings. So these are rituals performed by the Reiki teacher with a student. Okay, so this is just a summary. So we've got the Usui Reiki, the traditional Japanese, okay, so founded by Usui in Japan in the early 20th century. More meditative, intuitive, spiritual in approach, strong emphasis on the Reiju empowerments and self-practice, focus on the feeling and sensing energy flow rather than strict hand positions, and includes the tanden breathing techniques and visualization methods. You've got the Western part introduced by Takata, who modified the Japanese Reiki when bringing it to the West. It's more structured with set hand positions and formal attunements, emphasizes standardized symbols and hand placements and systematic healing techniques, less focus on the Japanese meditation techniques and more on hands-on healing, and often taught with a lineage system and certification levels. So many practitioners blend elements of both, honouring their lineage while adapting their practice to their personal professional needs. Okay. So again, I reiterate that neither form is better than the other. Okay, so whether you practice Usui's Japanese Reiki or the Western Reiki, the goal remains the same. So yeah, just remembering that. Okay. So there we go. So this is the end of the presentation. So if I stop from here and then we'll go into the meditation.